So, Groundhog Day was yesterday, and Punxsutawney Phil in Pennsylvania did see his shadow, which means 6 more weeks of winter, a longer winter. They made the announcement, which I must say they really get into.
Punxsutawney Phil, the seer of seers, was awakened from his wintry nap at dawn on Gobbler's Knob. Phil looked to the skies and then, speaking in groundhogese, directed the president to the proper scroll, which reads, "It's Groundhog Day, and maybe life is on a loop, but I miss my burrow, I miss my coop. So I'm headed back down. There's a shadow up here. Get ready for 6 more weeks of winter this year."
And they're all cheering 6 more weeks of winter, which usually you'd think they'd boo.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I
odd.
think you just have to cheer now no matter what.
I do too.
True, because Phil's doing his thing.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. Do you know, here's some facts about Groundhog Day that I find intriguing, okay? First of all, the first Groundhog Day, 1887 in Punxsutawney. That's the first time they had Phil come out and do that.
My understanding is that it's like the midway point between winter and spring.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I guess that's
So
right.
that's
Yeah,
why they've
they
selected
did.
that day. Of course, it's a pagan ritual.
Wait a minute.
Everything's based on pagan rituals.
Whoa, is it pagan?
Almost everything we do.
I didn't know that
Yeah.
was pagan. What else is pagan? Halloween?
Christmas.
No, not Christmas.
Well, I mean, the origin of the tree and all that stuff, right?
Was that? I don't. Look,
I'm not starting rumors.
Listen, this is the only thing I'm more ignorant about than that Luka Doncic trade is
the Lord.
the Lord, the pagan.
And the faiths of the world.
That's right. Remember how stunned I was? And several people talked to me about this at Myrtle Beach. I was saying that recently when we went to church, I learned that when Jesus turned water into wine, it was not just a bottle of wine. It was like hundreds of bottles of wine, 600 bottles. And the woman said, "Yeah, well, everybody knows that. It was like a waterfall of wine. Everybody had to have a party for a week." And I was like, I did not realize
That's
that.
quite a wedding.
I mean, what's a week-long wedding? I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Remember, that's when the guy standing next to me who I didn't know, I elbowed him and said, "It's like a good weekend at my house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I right?" And pointed over to my wife, and he didn't find humor in that at all. He didn't laugh.
Box of wine, cases. Get it?
He didn't laugh one bit at that. Yes.
Well, I have a big question about church.
Huh?
Now, you've been able to dodge it the last 2 Sundays.
Traveling. Couldn't.
But you will be home this Sunday. And now it is Super Bowl
It's
Sunday.
Super Bowl Sunday. So that's going to be an issue because we have a party, and that is a day when we are working from sunup to sundown.
All hands on deck.
All
kind of day.
hands
Mhm.
on deck. And so I think I'm going to have to tell my daughter, who really pushes us to church, we're going to start that the week after the Super Bowl. you know?
Okay.
Okay. Now, sure, have I been
Is
home?
Daddy working that weekend too? Yes.
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 And the one after.
And traveling. And
Oh yeah, a lot of road trips.
That's going to be, it's a tough one, you know. It's tough. It's
February's a busy month.
between my daughter and my dear friend, the Diesel, my pickleball partner, I am fighting them off. Diesel's like,
Pickle track, pickle track.
Diesel said, "Can you get back in time to play pickle on Sunday?" I said, "No, I couldn't. I had to turn down pickle on Sunday because, again, travel." Let me tell you this. Okay, how accurate do you think Punxsutawney Phil is? With what percentage has he gotten it right that it has been an early spring or, basically more winter?
I keep thinking it's probably about 50-50.
35%.
Really?
He's not even. I'll tell you who is way more accurate is Staten Island Chuck.
Okay.
They get that rodent out. Same thing. He's 85% accurate.
Wow.
When he says-
Does he have a shorter shelf? I mean, when did Staten Island Chuck begin doing his thing?
Same day. He does it on.
No, but he there's no way Staten Island Chuck was doing it in the 1800s.
No. There's all these copycats now. Punxsutawney Phil, of course.
Yeah.
I don't
They're
know.
everywhere now.
That's a great question. But Staten Island Chuck is our nation's most accurate. Apparently, that's where the weather is right one way or the other for what we're seeing. And here's the biggest thing about Punxsutawney Phil. He is what I want to be, immortal. This is the original Punxsutawney Phil from 1887. They have never replaced him. And why? Because he drinks droplets of magical juice.
The elixir of life.
That's right.
One drop.
Yep.
Biggie.
Yep.
Gives him 7 years.
7 years.
right.
So one drop. So they say, "Oh, give him that. We need another 7 years." They give
Juice
him
him up.
Yep.
That's right.
So he is immortal.
so
This
if
is
he
the
has
very same Punxsutawney Phil.
Yes.
From the 19th
The
century.
very first one. And if he had a glass of that juice, I mean, that's a million years.
Exactly.
That's all he needs. They give him a glass like in 1900. Okay, he's done. He's here forever. It's unbelievable that he was able to do that. I'm very impressed.
I thought you were going to tell me that they ate him when he was wrong for the first time.
Well, there are a few years where they don't have records.
Yeah, well, there are. That's right. That's
The
right.
groundhog was wrong. Let's eat it.
You're right.
I planted my crop.
Yeah.
Some years they don't have records, which is odd. It seems like they just go ahead and note it down every single. They've done it every single year. I don't know if they've even skipped you. You know how like once in a while, like some sporting event is missed because of COVID or
a war.
World War II. But I think they did it. They've done it all the way through, even with no fans during. Remember, they had a virtual one during the COVID. I think they
barely.
did. I think they kept on doing it.
Yeah.
By the way, of all the years he's done it, he's only predicted an early spring 21 times. He's predicted winter. I think like 128 times. It's a really big.
So it's
number.
always a shadow.
Yeah, pretty much always sees his shadow.
So the shadow means he gets scared of his shadow
yes,
and jumps back into his
yes,
cave, whatever,
which
and
means
hibernates for 6 more weeks.
6 more weeks of winter. But do they now? You notice they read it. It's like, what is this in Groundhogese? What is
He
this?
whispered.
Yeah,
in the
He
man's
whispered.
ear.
Is it? So does he really? Does any groundhog ever actually come out of his hole, see a shadow, and run back in, or does he just? Do they make it up?
I think it's all made up.
Yeah.
I do too. If the sun's shining, they say, "Oh, he saw a shadow."
My mom used to tell us when we were little kids that it would affect the farmers.
Really?
Yeah, they would plant early or plant late based on the groundhog.
Yeah,
day. But I think she was just keeping the magic alive.
It's less accurate than many other things that they do, like the woolly worm and all that kind of stuff, or the farmer's almanac and all those things.
I'd like to know what the groundhog's really saying when he's whispering. Let me get loose. And you're dead. All of you are dead. Oh, he's talking to me.
In Groundhogese.
They read the
I'm
scroll.
going to take out you and your whole family.
I took a dump in your top hat.
That guy with the top
You
hat.
have to wear a top
yeah.
hat.
Oh.
Now, here's the other interesting fact about this. They go to Gobbler's Knob every year. We were talking about this last week. There is no drinking allowed at Gobbler's Knob. It's done very early in the morning, but I think they pregame at all these different bars.
Yeah.
Accurate. That's got to be true.
And it gets bigger and bigger every year. I thought COVID might kill it. It's like, okay, nobody can come this year. So you know how things like that sort of, if you get away from it 1 or 2 years, then it doesn't come back around. But no, we are all back into it. And this was another huge year in Punxsutawney. And plus, it was a weekend, so everybody partied on Saturday night.
Yeah. Great setup.
It's not incredible how a city could do something like this. They came up with this in 1887, and here 150 years later, it's still, and now it's their big. I mean, what would Punxsutawney be known for? Nothing if it weren't
Just an odd name.
That's it. If it weren't for the groundhog, they really did that now. So I have to salute it.
And of course, the movie. Without the movie with Bill Murray.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
it made it 10 times as big. I think. You heard him when you read his scroll, although we're in a loop. I think that's what he's like. We're in a time loop, and I think that's what he's referring to. That it's over and over again. And I think as many people think of the movie as they do the groundhog himself now.